You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society.
Well, hello everyone, and thank you for coming into our program here on a July 5th, July 4th weekend. We really appreciate your presence, and we're so glad that things are really moving forward with JW World News coming up later on. But right now, we have got Joe and Fran. We all know them. They're coming in from New York State, and they've got some things they want to share with us tonight. So let's bring Joe and Fran on with us right now and say hello to them. Hello, Fran and Joe.
Hi,
Hello,
Rick.
Rick.
How are you?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Doing very good tonight. Doing good, Joe. You guys are looking good as usual. You always look so ready to go at it. So thank you for wanting to come in. I know you. I know you didn't have much time, but thank you for coming in and being with us. Really appreciate that. So what I'll do is I'll cut you loose, and you can talk to the audience. We got a big audience coming in already, so that's really, really good, Joe and Fran. So I'll get out of here, and you guys can do your thing.
Thank you, Rick. I
Hope y'all had a
think we're here.
hope y'all had a nice 4th of July, and some of you have the whole weekend off, like JP. Hi, JP, and everybody else listening.
And let us know if our sound is okay. We'll do whatever we have to for that.
Yes, I'll be watching in the chat too if there's any questions or if there's anything.
Yeah, generally we do our Wednesday night program, and where we discuss really current topics of not just religion but faith and mental health and social activities that we have as especially as ones who have gotten out of the organization, especially ones who were born in and then becoming free of that organization. That really poses a big challenge for anyone. It really does, because this thing called freedom carries quite a responsibility, because we're free to enjoy, but we're also free to suffer consequences as well, depending on our decisions. And so our decisions become important for us in understanding what we're facing before we even get into it at times. But there was something tonight that came to our attention, which we took for granted, because see, we were not born into the Watchtower Jehovah's Witnesses organization. We came in 1985.
And we were 33 years old at the time and had already had a worldly life.
Yeah, in the world where we all live. Our children, on the other hand, started out celebrating the celebrations and part of everything like that. But then when the oldest was 5, and the 2 others at the time were 3 and 2, maybe, and with 1 on the way, we brought them into it at that point. And as some of you may know, there's to our knowledge, they're still in, and they're still, and they are shunning us. We have not heard from them since we've gotten out, which is about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Fran keeps closer track of time than I do. So if you notice me always referring or looking at her, it's like, give me the time, give me the.
Okay,
Fran's
so
very good at keeping track of those things.
So we're 70. We're 70. Excuse me. We're 73, and we woke up when we were 70. Is there anyone in the audience that's 70 or older? You can just give a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Let us know.
70 or older. Born in? How many are born in?
Yeah.
And
just a point. If you're not 70 or older, you will be.
Yeah.
You will be. assuming everything carries forward with your health and the health of the system and life supporting situations on this earth. Um, and that's the subject of what we're going to discuss tonight. Aging, which is something that everyone does.
Mhm.
We begin life as, well, in the womb, we begin life, I guess, from nothing, zero, to that point on, we just progress in years. And we, as the sun sets and rises again, we do something called age. It's a natural progression for every living creature, as far as I know. I personally don't know of anything that doesn't age. It's the concept that we exist within this thing called time, and it accumulates, or we accumulate something as we go forward. I'm not going to say that I understand time fully, but I do know that we age.
So in the comments, I'm watching the comments.
Yeah.
So we asked if any were 70 or older or born in. Rick said he's 76, and John Marciano was born in 1973, in 1973. And Yvonne said, let's give a toast with the glasses,
Clink,
LOL.
clink.
Yeah, we could have started out that way. I forgot about that.
Well, safe to say that every one of you was younger
Yeah.
at one time.
Cheryl's 78.
And welcome on.
Darlene Smith. Darlene, you're not from Florida, are you? Born in 70. Okay, yeah, so of course, Jay's here. He's born in. Susan Gillian, born in JW, 60 years. So we've got some older ones and some
Okay.
born-ins.
Okay. And obviously, the more years we live, they say that we're older. As the person lives more years, they say they become older. You may or may not want to be viewed as old, but we do get older as time marches on. And that's a personal thing that everybody has a point of view on their age. But the reality is, we age, we progress towards something. And everything that we've ever seen as humans and as physical creatures, animals as well as humans, is we progress in age and eventually we die. We get to the point where we're no longer livable. We simply are not able to continue life. It apparently it becomes something that our organism can't sustain. And I'm sure there's so many different either explanations for it, either physically or spiritually, or even biblical explanations for it. That's really not what we're going to go into now. And, obviously a person can believe anything they want as far as why we age. But everything that we know is that we proceed forward, our life changes, our body changes, our mind, our thinking changes, our experiences change. We age. Now, there was a time when we were in that organization. When I say that organization, I mean Jehovah's Witnesses. And I will never call it the truth, because it was not the truth. It was an absolute fraud of an organization filled with lies and fraud. and criminal activity. So I will not refer to it as the truth. Some continue to because of force of habit. I understand that. Some catch themselves and retract that when they say it. I understand. Others of you who are out right now, maybe you've been out for years. You may still refer to it as the truth. You may even believe that it's still the truth. That absolutely is your privilege to believe whatever you choose. Doesn't make anything real or unreal, whatever we believe, but it's our right to exercise whatever belief that we want. It's just our position as humans. We're not dogs. Dogs don't have beliefs. Humans have beliefs. And interesting too about humans and beliefs, we're not born with beliefs. Were you born with beliefs? No, I was not born with beliefs. I observed others as I was growing that had something called beliefs. And I, in turn, accepted beliefs and developed beliefs. Beliefs that I started out with when I was younger. I don't have them now. See, beliefs change. Beliefs, well, they age. Sometimes they don't last very long. Sometimes I believed something when I was 1, if that's possible. I guess it's possible.
Yeah, I suppose you
I mean, I'm not aware of that 1.
No, you said like 3 or
3.
7.
For personally, 3 is when I had an awareness of something. 3 that I could remember. And then 4 and 5. Well, those beliefs that I had then, they didn't last because I took in more information, exposed to more things, and my beliefs changed. I discarded old beliefs. They were no longer valid. Didn't work anymore. It didn't line up with other things I was experiencing. So that changed. I guess you could say our beliefs age out. They last for so long, and then they die, or they change. Some beliefs last. Some beliefs that we had when we were very young, we still have. We still possess them right now. They age well. They don't grow old. We continue to carry them and say, no, I still believe the same thing I did then with that situation. But as we age more, we can't guarantee. I can't guarantee that my beliefs won't change yet still as I age. I can't guarantee that. And I'm not looking for guarantees either. And if someone said, oh, no, you're going to, it's like I don't accept that as any kind of sureness. I really don't. But that's what aging brings about. Aging brings about more understanding, more experience, more clarity. Hopefully. I hope aging brings out more clarity for everyone. I truly do.
But the problem is when someone is born in and they grew up from a child thinking that they were never going to die, and at some point Armageddon was coming, and then the paradise.
And then what would happen?
And then they're going to be with the animals. They're going to pet the
But wait a minute now.
lions.
But what about their age at that point?
If they were younger or older.
Well, they're all whatever age they were. I don't know.
They were supposed
Let's say they were older.
Well, the way
whatever.
we,
See, now this is
but
where
the
it
way
gets...
we learned that in paradise we were going to grow young again.
In other words, we would
return to our
youth, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does it mean you return to a child? I don't know what that means. See, it's kind of vague.
Yeah. But in
You know.
people's minds, they were actually going to go back to
Yeah.
the prime of their life.
Oh my goodness.
They showed the, remember they showed the
Yeah,
older
yeah,
brother
yeah.
in the mirror,
Yeah.
and he's changing,
Oh
and
my
he's
God.
back
Oh.
to his 20s.
Oh boy.
So the problem is, and one of our ex-born-ins told us that she's having a really hard time dealing with this. Like, she's 70 now, and she was never supposed to get this old.
I was promised. I was promised. Look, there are ones that were promised that they would return not only to their youth, but they would be made whole.
Mm-hmm.
No one is perfect. Some people may feel that they're a lot less perfect than others. And they really look forward to being made complete. Maybe they really had a partial,
Mm-hmm.
um, a partial body. It could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
Could be anything. Maybe somebody just didn't like the fact they didn't have much hair.
Yep.
So they figured when they return, or when they come into this situation called paradise, they would get more hair, let alone grow taller or become whole. They were promised. These are promises.
Yeah.
Well, were they true? Were they real? I certainly couldn't say they were real.
We couldn't prove it. No one ever did before.
Now, am I going to say that any of the promises that you hold are real or aren't real? I'm not going to say that. I can't say. I'm not here to say that. But I do know, I promise you, and I am promised, that every day that proceeds in this system, that I'm aware, I'm going to age. My condition is going to change. It's not going to improve. It's going to degrade. Down. That's down. It's degrade till eventually I'm not livable anymore. I won't be able to look and see and say and breathe or anything. I cease. I will cease. That's aging. Now, again, we were promised. You were promised. Hey, we've got the solution for that. This new world has the solution for that. Yeah, that is a wonderful thing. But beautiful promise. Oh my goodness. What didn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't it sound so
Well,
good?
yeah, because ones that are in the audience right now, they were never supposed to graduate high school, and here they are again in their 60s, 70s, having children, grandchildren, great grandchildren. So
Yeah.
the question is, how do you deal with getting old after you wake up and you're not believing, what the Jehovah's Witnesses taught us? Again, we were not born in. I was wondering if Rick was going to open up the lines if anybody wanted to.
Yeah. In fact, I would even look for the perspective of someone who, in 1975, who was expecting Armageddon, but then found out it didn't come. And now they're faced with the fact that I didn't get an education. I didn't keep my house. I didn't do something I should have done. And now I don't have that opportunity anymore. And now they're faced with another reality. What did they do? What was it like for them to have to adjust to that new thought? They couldn't avoid it at that point. Couldn't avoid it. They probably would have loved to have avoided it, but they didn't. You would love to avoid growing old in the system. You're not going to. You're not going to. I'm not going to. Well, what kind of anxiety and resistance should I set up to that? Will that be good for me? Will that be good for me if I fight as hard as I can, I can avoid it maybe. I don't think so. No, if I fight as hard as I can, I'll probably grow and die faster. Because anxiety and stress only ages us faster. That's not good for us. It's not good for us at all. So how do I come to accept?
Well, if anyone wants to call into the program, we've got a number of people listening in right now. So go ahead, call in, say hello to Fran and Joe on the telephone line. Just hit *6, and that will bring you on, and they'll be able to talk with you. So don't be bashful. Come on right now. Let's see if we can't get you in. So
Rick,
go ahead.
Can you put the number up there so folks?
Yeah, let me do that, Fran. I'm glad you suggested that. Yeah, so that's a very interesting subject you got going on here. I find that what it is a lot of the older people, I should say, the baby boomers, they're starting to get up there in age. And as a matter of fact, I'll tell you what, it is funny that you even bring this subject up, because this film crew that is coming from, let me just get this number up for you right now. This film crew that's coming in to film at the convention we have, they were going to originally start. Go ahead. Someone want to speak up? Go ahead. You run with us. I'll tell you my story later. Go ahead. You run with us. I believe it's 607. Go ahead.
Hi, John Fran. This is Annie calling.
Hi, Annie.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, so you and I have had this conversation, and it's ironic that I was born I'm in my early 70s, and I was able to process the fact that I spent 68 years in the cult and did not go to school, go to college, did not get an education of some kind. Now I'm poorer than I should be. But harder than that has been recently is I never thought I was going to get old. And of course, the reality is I am getting old and I will get older.
Mm-hmm.
So this is harder for me to face the actual prospect of dying.
Mm-hmm.
The aging process for me right now, I hope I can get past this, is harder than facing the fact that I will die. And I watch myself from year to year deteriorate a little bit and start to have some minor health issues, and my youth is fading. Even though I'm told I look younger than I am, still I look in the mirror and I see myself aging. So I'm having a problem. My problem is I'm angry at my body, literally, right now.
Yeah.
It's doing things I don't want it to do. It's never supposed to do. And I'm just struggling with this. It's an odd thing probably to struggle with, but it's a reality for me right now. So I was wondering if anybody else was facing this, and if they had any suggestions how to cope.
Oh, yeah. No, it's very real. Very real.
It's so good for you to be honest about that and face it and see how others feel.
How many people don't like to look in the mirror?
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to look in the mirror because they know they're not going to like what they see.
Well, I didn't do myself, so others can call in.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you,
Annie.
Annie.
Yeah, if anybody wants to weigh in on that, how do you deal with growing old now when you were taught that you were never going to grow old or die?
Understand that you're no different than anyone else, because everyone else really is succumbing to this process. Now, some do a whole lot differently than others. It's just the way it is. Some age out much faster than others. Some age out very slowly. When I say age out, I mean their looks change, their condition changes. We're different. We're very different from each other.
Yes.
And we have no choice. We had no choice in what we received.
reading some of the comments, and Marquita Armstrong says, I just try to keep the old brain active. Am enrolling in creative writing classes this fall, so that's helping. Marquita. Jane Spitfire says, Annie, as long as you can think and move every day, that is a plus. Sten says, I look in the mirror and I look great, all in soft focus and blurry.
Yeah, yeah. I like to blur my eyes when I look in the mirror. I don't like to look very carefully. Be very careful. Seriously, there are strategies too, because as with anything else, the closer you look, the more you'll see what are called imperfections.
Mm-hmm.
Now, look at it the other way too. The closer you look, you may see some depth that you didn't see before. In your eyes, you may see more depth than you ever saw when you were a child or when you were younger. You may possess that. You probably do. That's what comes with aging. Deeper understanding of things, clarity. You have the opportunity to improve what you have in ways that you can, not in ways that you can't. See, my goal is to improve my complexion to make it look when I was younger. It's like, oh my goodness, if you want to do that, go ahead. But I know a lot of women try to do that, but I wouldn't even I personally wouldn't even waste my time doing that. Now, we can do things to naturally do that, like the way we eat, okay? The environment we put us in, our sleep, our rest, that'll naturally optimize our body to the best we can.
Yeah, we know Annie personally, and Annie does try to take care of herself. She eats healthy, she walks every day, and she keeps herself busy. She reads a lot. So you're doing those things.
And this is, and see, we're talking about expectations.
Mm-hmm.
See, you expected, just like that person in 1974, they expected to be on the other side in that new world. They expected. And then when it didn't come, their expectations
We can't talk right now.
were
We're
just
doing a live
dashed.
program. Okay.
No
Call you back.
expectations.
Okay, thank you.
And expectations totally shot down. Well, that had to be tremendously beyond disappointing. They're probably angry, hurt, and lost, many, because their expectations were just dashed. So there's a lesson there. It's like, be careful what you expect. You know, it's good to have realistic expectations. Realistic.
Anyone else want to call in? The number's right there on the screen, and then hit *6 and unmute yourself.
And if you don't have realistic expectations, go ahead. Hello.
Hi, Joe. Hi, Fran. It's Cheryl. It's Cheryl.
Hello,
Hi, Cheryl. Cheryl, yes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Well.
Okay. I'm on my earbuds, so I wasn't real sure how the sound would come through. I just wanted to comment. I wasn't born in. I joined the religion when I was about 37 years old. And I feel really fortunate because one thing I've noticed about the difference between born-ins and those of us that joined later, I guess looking back, I have to acknowledge that I never really bought into the looking for everything. I mean, I thought it would be really great if it happened, but I always believed that we wouldn't, live in a later hour. And I just thought, well, that's okay too. So,
I'm having a hard time understanding you, Cheryl.
I heard you say that you didn't buy into the
Yeah, I
living
heard that
forever.
part, but beyond that, it was getting
Getting muffled.
confusing. The way the sound.
Let me move to a different. Is it better now?
Yes.
Yes.
So you said, did you feel you had to make any adjustments?
Let, well, not really, because I guess I just never really bought into the living forever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought it would be great if it happened,
Yeah.
but I just figured it may not happen. And so I think those of us that weren't as children with that belief, I don't know, our point of view is different, is what I think.
Yeah. No, it's a good point, because I'm sure not everyone felt the same way about that. They say, in fact, that so many witnesses are really living a double life.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, they express the things that witnesses are supposed to express, but in their heart, they really make other expressions because they don't believe it so much. And so they keep their options open. But whereas on the other hand, there are those that they accepted it just hook, line, and sinker.
Well, I was the fortunate one because I did have a career. I mean, I was a single person, but I had a career before I became a witness. So I didn't ever believe I shouldn't own a home or not work. And so in a way, I was one of the lucky ones, I guess.
Yeah, you were, Cheryl.
Yeah. Well, you're one of the, you were wise.
Mm-hmm.
You were wise. And that, I guess that is a lesson for all of us, for going forward especially.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if we misjudged and trusted too much in things that were too good to be true, or that sounded too good to be true, now what? How do we adjust for that? Are we more cautious now? Are we more careful?
Mm-hmm.
So, Joe and Fran, I'm kind of I think we have a bad connection, so I'm going to let someone else talk. I just want to.
Thank you for coming on, Cheryl.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
You came through real good
Yes.
on our end.
It was I appreciate what you
Want to
offered.
talk again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Joe and Fran.
Hello.
Is it Nadine?
Fran. It's Angela.
Oh, hi,
Hi,
Angela.
Angela.
Hi there, guys. I just want to say that to me, it's one of the things that I think is sad is that we didn't have the idea that you could become the very best at something like, say, piano playing or, I don't know, whatever it is that you want to be the best at. I'm going to be the best, neurosurgeon. We don't have expectations like that we hoped for. And then when you find out that you've been tricked, and if this is no longer the truth, then it seems like we're still sort of stuck in that way of thinking. And even especially if you're older and you just feel like, I don't know, it's like that's never gonna, that desire to become the best at something was just kind of plucked right out of you.
Yeah.
And then when you get out of there, you think you would just take the bull by the horns and say, okay, well, I've been tricked. I need to get on the horn and I need to become great at something. But a lot of us, not until we're, 45, 55, and then it's like, really have that thought to think way anymore. Maybe you never ever did. And I noticed that I don't expect myself to be the best at something because of that upbringing, and it's just, in my church, Worldwide Church of God, and I noticed in the witnesses too, it's not like you have people that's the great so much. The great piano player, rarely do you even see anybody who really gets really great at piano or guitar or anything for that matter, because of that way of looking at things. That the end is coming any minute, any minute, any minute.
Mm.
So you just forego all of that. You don't become, a lot of times, the thing I think God intended for us to become and put out, because we just thought of ourselves as less than, and I don't know, just not of this world. So you don't care about becoming great at anything. I just think that's sad. That's all. I just want to say that.
Yeah, well, I agree with you, Angela.
Yeah, Angela. Normally, children formulate these dreams when they're young. You know, I want to be this. I want to be that. You know, they get inspired by what an example of what they saw in an older person, and boy, that's it. They just dream that day and night, and they forge ahead doing that. Well, that didn't happen generally in Jehovah's Witness organization.
Yeah.
Generally. So,
Joe, you know what? Ever since that lady came on a minute ago, suddenly you guys are not clear anymore. I don't know what happened, but as soon as she came on, now you're all fuzzy, and I can't understand what you're saying, and I don't know what happened. But I wanted to let you know that.
well, thank you.
Thank you.
What can we do?
Hold on, Joe and Fran.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see an issue with that. It might be on Angela's line.
Okay.
How about you folks in the YouTube stream? Can you hear Joe and Fran okay? In the YouTube stream?
Hi, Nick.
Yes, who's this?
Hi, it's Nadine. I can hear them just fine. But I was going to talk to Joe and Fran first. Yeah, but no, I can hear them.
Yeah, we can hear you too.
Hello.
All right, I think it might have been on
good.
Andrew's line. I think Susan's listening in on the other line. Susan, are you having trouble on the telephone line?
No, it's fine for me.
Okay, it's just on Angela and Dan's line then. Okay, you guys are clear. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Well, I appreciate everybody trying to connect.
Hi, Fran. Hi, Joe.
Hello.
Hi, Nadine.
Hi. I just called to say hi. And you were talking about aging.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I just wanted to say that, Fran, I think you look amazing. And I just,
Well, thank you. And what about Joe?
yeah, it's so do you.
I don't try to be this.
Fran,
Well, thank you.
Fran looks so beautiful.
Oh,
I just wanted to let you know.
You're very kind.
you're very, very kind, because I've got a lot more wrinkles than I had before.
Yeah.
But I try to smile just because I just think it makes me look better when I smile rather than when I frown.
See,
Really, there's not too much, I think a lot of it's genetics too. And, there's a lot that goes into it,
Yeah, there is. There is.
Right. And moisturizers, thank goodness for some moisturizers.
Yep.
I just think you look fantastic. You really do. And I've seen you in person, so.
Well, thank you, Nadine, and so do you. We're so glad we got to meet you in person.
Oh,
and this is where Nadine, and this is where you could grow up in a culture that says, "Oh, I don't have to worry about it because I'm going to have this magic happen to me at some point, and then it's all going to be fixed for me." Or you could say, I'm responsible for what I possess, and I want to take care of it, and I want to treat it well so it doesn't degrade on me, like my complexion or my body, my health. And see, and this is what I think some witnesses who were born in it, they were tricked basically into giving up responsibility. In other words, I don't have to be responsible for taking care of myself. I'm gonna just do
Right.
everything for my body to go to hell, and then boom, it's gonna get magically transformed. But it doesn't work that way.
And also, the organization, I believe they look down on exercise and going to the gym
Yeah.
They
and
do.
taking care of yourself. There's been videos where they're against all that. And Tony talked about how women in their yoga pants, how offensive that was.
Yeah.
And so they did not encourage people taking care of their bodies.
No, they sure didn't. No, they sure didn't.
Yeah.
In fact, what?
I think there's a part on the convention about a girl going to the gym or working out, and she has a YouTube video on it, and she has followers, and
Yeah.
they're looking down on it. Oh, she has followers. You know, this is bad, and she's wearing exercise clothes, and it's so revealing, and they just everything that is good, they tear it down.
Yeah.
Everything bad. Yeah.
You know what? It's been said. See, they simply do not want a person to become what they want to become. They want a person to become what the society wants them to become. And it's been said that they curate the persons, the members. They know what they want. They know what they want them to look like. They know what they want them to sound like. They know what they want them to do. And they're going to do everything to get them to do that. They have no respect. They have absolutely no respect for the human, for the individual. No respect at all. And so that means you're going to disregard what you need to do to take care of yourself. You're going to disregard that, all so that you can fulfill their desires.
Yeah.
Because, see, you think that if you fulfill their desires, your desires, all your desires are going to be fulfilled. See, it's like a trade. It's like a transaction. They offer this, but you've got to give that, and then you'll get the prize.
I've got a perfect example of this. This week, someone wrote into us, and she is an XJW. She went on to become a therapist, but her grandmother is 99 and she's dying, and she's a witness. And so this person said, just found out my aunt was given a full scholarship to Northeastern University in Boston for playing the cello. Her friend took her slot because my grandmother made her give up both. And then I said, oh my, that's terrible. She said she was the aunt that was found dead last June at 65. She drank herself to death. That is just so sad and so pathetic. And it just makes me so angry that this person had that much influence on the younger person. And here she ended up becoming an alcoholic when she could have had a full scholarship. She could have gone on to becoming a cello player. Who knows what opportunities would have come her way. And now this grandmother who lived to 99, she's dying.
So, yeah. And see, there's in the world, the people who are humans in real life, I'm not going to say the world, in real life, because witnesses do not live in real life. They just don't. They live in fantasy life. They live in a very unhealthy realm, very unhealthy. We all know that but as a child grows, they develop a sense of time. When they're really infants, they don't have no idea about how long something is or how short. But there comes a point where they understand, oh, there's something called time, like faster, slower, quicker, now, later. And they realize, oh, I've got so much time to do something. I've got to hurry up and do it because I won't have any time left. hurry up, or you won't get there. Hurry up, or you won't win the game. Hurry up, or you'll lose out. So hurry up, and 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 so a child takes that on with what they have to achieve with their life. They say, well, I've got to get an education. I've got to get a career. I've got to get a skill, a trade. I've got to get into business as soon as I can. I've got to develop this as soon as I can. Otherwise, I'm going to be left behind. They understand this because they live in a world where others are saying the same thing. Witnesses, unfortunately, were cheated with that.
Jay said that he is in residential construction. So he got a trade.
Yeah.
So good for you,
Good for
Jay.
him.
He does seamless gutters and residential carpentry.
Yeah.
And you keep pretty busy too.
Yeah. Now, and so what should you do? Well, what would you do? In other words, look around you. They say, how do I want to say this? Our desires, our the things that we like, they find us. We don't have to really look for them. They find us. Maybe it's something that we hear, something that we see, feel, something that we smell, whatever. It's like, boy, I find that attractive. And so we gravitate toward that. Well, again, witnesses were not encouraged to do that. They were encouraged to do what they're supposed to do in that society. More study, more service, more meeting attendance, more whatever. So they basically decided not to do the things that they needed to do. Unfortunately, time passes. And what they're doing, they're giving up the opportunity to achieve what they could with their life. See, we're talking right now, I know we're not just talking to exes. I know we're also talking to ones that are in. Ones that are still active. You're active in that organization. Your life is everything that you have to achieve what only you can achieve for yourself. And you have a limited amount of time to do that. Limited. And every day it's getting a little shorter. But you have enough time. You do. You have enough time to do it.
Yeah.
But you don't have enough time to waste. You don't have enough time to waste on false promises, on people that lie to you, people that present something too good to be true. You're being tricked. And why do they do that? So why would someone want to trick you out of your time to achieve your goals? Why would they want to do that to you?
Just reading some of the comments. Born JW, I think he said he's 58 and he's taken a welding class and he's really enjoying it. So it's not too late.
No, it's not too late. If you're alive, it's not too late.
You can read books, watch YouTube videos. You can learn so much on YouTube now. Or take a class if you are interested in something. Ask yourself, what do I wish I always did? What did I hold back from doing? And if it's reasonable, go for it.
And now, so okay, you may not know what's reasonable. In which case?
John Frank.
Hello.
Hi, it's Stefan. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm really enjoying this topic. And a couple of things come to my mind. I think I'll start with the first one. one of the things that I really learned after leaving this cult was how we never developed as human beings. And even now, because I have some family members that are witnesses, a couple other people I'm sort of in contact with, but one of the things that I can sense immediately about them is they really don't have a contentment in life. Now, they've got the cognitive dissonance because Watchtower says you're living the best life ever. But when you're around them, they're not happy, and they're certainly not content, and probably don't even know what that is when you mention it. And part of it is because, again, never being allowed to develop your own life, to analyze yourself and say, what is it that I like in life? What is it that I want to do? And you really saw that with COVID, and not just with Jehovah's Witnesses, but with society in general.
Yes.
People were really starting to suffer mentally during COVID. And what did people start doing? Well, since they couldn't be around family and friends, if you have family and friends, they started developing hobbies. And those things really made a difference in their life. And I can say, even just for myself, going back to what you two just said about learning different things online, I actually started teaching myself woodworking. This is even before COVID. And I found that it just gave me such satisfaction, and contentment. And then the things that I really like, that I allow myself to just sit down and say, what is it that you like? What interests you? And then I started doing more of those things, and they just gave me more contentment in life. And so I feel really sorry for those witnesses, because Watchtower is telling you you got the best life ever, but hopefully you can see within yourself that you are not truly happy. You are not truly content. You are not doing anything in life that you really want to do. You're doing everything that Watchtower tells you to do, and you're just as miserable and unhappy as you can be. I want to, second thought, and then I'm done, is the question that the sister asked at the very beginning about aging. I just heard a jewel that I'm going to try to remember as long as I can. And it was from a cigar aficionado. And the jewel was, eat less, but the best. Drink less, but the best. Smoke less, and he's talking about cigars, not cigarettes, not marijuana, cigars. Smoke less, but the best. And then to that, I would add, do as much as you can with what you have. And that's kind of my philosophy. I try to live every day as if it were the last. I certainly see within myself that I can do a lot of what I can do today, but not quite as much as I did yesterday. But you know what? I don't let that bother me. I do the best that I can, and I try to find joy and satisfaction and contentment in every day. So that's what I do. That's my philosophy.
Great.
I like that, Stefan.
Appreciate you relating it. And see what they did. The society did. They discouraged people from looking at their values and their goals as important. Basically,
Exactly.
stated that, well,
Yeah.
the most important thing is
I
something
learned
else.
you will never be truly happy and content in life living somebody else's life.
Yeah.
We lived somebody else's life in Watchtower. When they
Yeah.
wanted a property built, they presented it to us as come here and Jehovah's will and get a blessing, and that's because they needed that.
Yeah.
And then when they needed, missionaries, come be a missionary, the blessings you're going to receive. Well, nobody received any blessings being a missionary. Go out there and read the stories of the people that did it. We weren't living our lives. We were living whatever whim Watchtower came up with that benefited only Watchtower, like all this construction, the Bill Kingdom Halls, just so that they can sell them and reap a windfall. That didn't benefit anybody but them. And so that's why we were never truly content. And it's just heartbreaking when you see people and they just get on that hamster wheel. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. Jehovah's going to bless me, never knowing that any of the things you're doing has nothing to do with God, and they don't benefit you in any way. And all you are doing is wasting the one thing you cannot afford to waste, which is your time. Thanks, Randy. I'm going to go back on mute. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Stefan.
Stefan. Yeah, I would just add to what Stefan says, just find pleasure in the simple things. Whatever you're doing, it could be anything. Just find pleasure.
Do something you like. You know,
Shall I tell them what I was doing today?
go ahead.
I was sorting out nuts and bolts, and I was just enjoying it, you know. And Joe said, "You don't mind not going anywhere today?" I said, "No." I said, "Well, we went somewhere yesterday. We had a family picnic, and we went to a couple different places, and it was beautiful, and we had a beautiful day." But I said, "No, I'm content just being here, doing what we're doing." And Joe was doing a whole bunch of things in the shop too.
See, and thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And see, you really need to listen to yourselves. You don't need to listen to anyone else to tell you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You simply need the courage to be who you are and to listen to what you are. So many people basically take what they think is the easy way out
Mm-hmm.
to let someone else who they perceive as authority make decisions for them. Say, oh, it'll be easier. Oh, I don't want to make decisions for myself. It's too hard. I I don't want to be responsible for myself. I'll let someone else be responsible for me. Plus the fact that they're promising me something so wonderful. Hey, that's great. You know, I'm just gonna listen. I'm gonna obey, and I'm gonna be blessed. And you're gonna be scammed, and you're gonna be ripped off, and you're gonna be used, and you're gonna lose, which is what most of us did because of that experience in the Watchtower. We lost.
Mm-hmm.
We lost. We listened to them. They lied to us. We benefited them. We found out that we lost.
Mm-hmm.
Now what? Now what? Now we get a chance to do the right thing for ourselves.
I just noticed that it's 7 o'clock, and Rick said we were just going to be on for an hour.
You know?
So, Rick, what do you say, Rick?
Yeah, in fact, that's good, Fran and Joe. I wanted to make a comment too about getting older. And I wanted to say that, I'll tell you what, I'm 76, but I don't want to go back to being young. I really don't.
I don't either.
I really like it being 76. And the reason why I do is I have a lot more knowledge, a lot more wisdom. I see younger people and I say, wow, it's nice to be young too. But, it's a lot of responsibility. Fran and Joe, raising children, trying to, pay the bills, get out and hustle and work every day. And, as you get older and the kids get older, you don't have that responsibility. And I find that being 76, this is the best time of my life, Fran and Joe. And, the Watchtower, I came in back in the 1950s. And of course, back then I was told I was never going to die. And that was one of the selling points. Obviously, that's why many people, I believe today in the baby boom era, all of us and many of us listening in tonight, that's why we became witnesses. We were told we were never going to die. It was a big bald-faced lie.
Yeah.
But we're still here. And even I was just thinking, putting a convention together, we're coming up here just in a few weeks. And, 50 years ago was 1975. And the world was even supposed to end then.
Yeah.
And how can these guys continue to go on? They got to make monumental changes. We'll be talking about some of that coming up on JW World News, Fran and Joe. But a good program. We got a lot of people listening in. Thank you for participating and coming in at the last moment. So go ahead, just sum it up, take a couple of minutes, and say goodbye to everybody.
Thank you, Rick. Brought me to remember that when I was young, all I could think is being in a time machine, fast forwarding to when I was older. I just did not like being young. I wanted to get on with my life. I wanted to start working, producing, achieving, attaining, experiencing, enjoying, exploring.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I wanted to do. And frankly, every one of you is really at that point. You're at the point where you have the opportunity now to do that more than you ever did before. You did not have that opportunity. If you had the opportunity before, you didn't take it. Now you have to take it. If you love yourself, you will take that opportunity. Because others who love you will help you with that opportunity. They'll help you. Just like you're going to help others with their opportunities because you love them.
And you know the best thing that happened in 1975? Joe and I met each other in 1975, July 12th.
Yeah.
So 50 years
Yeah.
we've known each other,
Yeah.
and 49 years we'll be married in October.
Yeah.
So 1975 was a good year.
Well, congratulations, Fran and Joe. And you got me thinking. My daughter, the only one I really have that's left in the organization, and she's a real loyal witness even to this day. But she was born in 1975.
Wow.
And, it's funny when you stop and think about it. But I mentioned that to her before, too. I said, Jacqueline, I mean, you were born in 1975. So, that year people still were coming in. People were still believing this. But, it was plainly written on the wall. And even though the Watchtower denies it, they said that was going to be it. And here we still are, still alive in 2025. Yep. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you.
on.
Thank
And
you.
we'll be in touch and
Wow.
Thank you
keep,
all.
keep standing tall. Thank you. Well, that is Fran and Joe. And we're going to be going to our JW World News Part 2 program here tonight. We don't want you to go anywhere. We have a man by the name of John Vinney. John Vinney's coming in from Wales, way over there in the UK. And he was on the Watchtower Liaison Committee. So we're looking forward to hearing him. All right. So anyways, let's go now. We're going to end this program right here. And let's end this stream. John, we're going to be coming over right now. So let's end this stream right here. And I'll just make sure that we're able to let's make sure we got this right, which we do. All right.